My name is Aga Malaku. I was born in Ethiopia, in Gondar city. In my time, that was in Kabade Arat, Rufael. That was a long time, almost 38 years ago. This evening is special for me because it is the first time in Israel, this kind of a wonderful conference. The relationship between Ethiopia and Israel, everyone we knew it when it started, but we are not sure. I think King Solomon and the Queen Sheba. And today, the relationship between two countries is very strong, and I'm very happy to see that, especially in academic level. According to Ethiopian tradition, every ceremony we start with bless of our Kesef. Please Kasaustoch.
Tiran saraka la sarkana
ያሰሙተኝ የሰማነው ጸሎት ይሄን የዘመን መለወጫ የሚገልጽ ነው። ክቡር አምባሳደር ምስጋና ከፍ ያለ ነው። አሁን እንግዲህ ወደ እርሶ አልፋለሁ። I'm very happy to invite His Excellency Rata Alemu Naga, Ethiopian Ambassador in Israel, please.
I will follow the suit of my dear sister, Dr. Tsagga, and I will do both my address both in Amharic and in English. So let me begin by the Amharic one. Please allow me. የተከበራችሁ እንግዶች፣ የዚህ የትምህርት ቤቱ ዋና የስራ ኃላፊዎች ፕሮፌሰር ቶባ፣ ዶክተር ሻሮን ሻሎም፣ እንዲሁም የተከበሩ አቶ ዚብ፣ ክቡራን ካህናት ወይም ቀሳውስት፣ ዛሬ እዚህ በመካከላችሁ ተገኝቼ የዚህ ኢትዮጵያ በኢየሩሳሌም የሚለውን አውደ ጥናት ለመክፈቻ ስነ ስርዓት በማድረጋችን በጣም ደስተኛ ነኝ። ይህ አውደ ጥናት በሁለቱ ሀገሮች የህዝብ ለህዝብ ግንኙነትን በሚመለከት አንድ መሰረት የሚጥል ትልቅ አውደ ጥናት ነው። ይህ አውደ ጥናት ቀደም ሲል ከ3 ዓመት በፊት የተጀመረ ሲሆን በአውደ ጥናቱ በወቅቱ በነበረው ወረርሽኝ ምክንያት በአካል መደረግ አልቻለም። ስለዚህ የእግዚአብሔር ፈቃድ ሆኖ በአካል የተደረገው አሁን ነው። ካህናቱ ከመዝሙረ ዳዊት ጠቅሰው ብርሃን ሰረቀ፣ ብርሃን ወጣ። በሚገርማችሁ ሁኔታ ይህ የዘመን መለወጫ በመስከረም የሚደረገው በሁለት ሀገሮች ብቻ ነው፣ በኢትዮጵያና በእስራኤል። የኢትዮጵያ አዲስ ዓመት አሁን ባለፈው ሳምንት አክብረናል። እንኳን ለአዲሱ ዓመት አደረሳችሁ። እንዲሁም አሁን ደግሞ ሮሽ ሀሻና የእስራኤል አዲስ ዓመት ደግሞ በሚቀጥለው ሳምንት እየመጣ ነው። አዲስ ዘመን እንግዲህ ስናከብር ብዙ መልካም ነገሮችን እያሰብን ነው የምናከብረው። አባቶቻችን ዘመኑ የተባረከ እንዲሆን ለእግዚአብሔር አምላክ ምስጋና አቅርበዋል። ይሄ ትልቅ መነሻ ነው። ይሄን ጉባኤ የተባረከ እንዲሆን የእነሱ ጸሎት፣ የእነሱ ቡራኬ ይደርሰን። በዚህ ጉባኤ በርካታ ጉዳዮች ላይ በተለይ በኢትዮጵያና በእስራኤል መካከል ያለው የ3000 ዓመት ግንኙነትን፣ የህዝብ ለህዝብ ወዳጅነትን የሚመለከት በርካታ ጉዳዮች ላይ ውይይት ይደረጋል። የዚህ የ3000 ዓመት ግንኙነት መሰረቱ ንግስተ ሳባ የንጉስ ሰለሞንን ጥበብ ለማየት ወደ እስራኤል ያደረገችው ጉዞ በኢትዮጵያውያን የታሪክ መጽሐፍ በተለይ በክብረ ነገሥት እንደተጻፈው የንግሥተ ሳባ ጉዞ ንጉሥ ሰለሞንን በማየት የእሱን ጥበብ በመፈተን ብቻ የተወሰነ አልነበረም። ከንጉሥ ሰለሞን ጋር በነበራት ወዳጅነት ልጅ አፍርተዋል። ያ ልጅ በኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ እስካሁን ዘመን የሚታወቀው ቀዳማዊ ምኒልክ ተብሎ ነው። ቀዳማዊ ምኒልክ የሁለቱን ሀገሮች ወዳጅነት ግንኙነት ከሁለት ነገስታት በመወለዱ ብቻ ሳይሆን በአክሱም ዘመነ መንግስት ዳግማዊ ኢየሩሳሌምን በመፍጠር ነው የሚታወቀው። የሁለቱ ሀገሮች ግንኙነት ከዛ ዘመን ጀምሮ ስረ መሰረት የጣለበት ነው። የአይሁድ እምነት ከእስራኤል ቀጥሎ በሰፊው መሰረት ተጥሎበት ለዘመናት የኖረው የት ነው? ኢትዮጵያ ነው። ስለዚህ ይህ ታሪክ በሚገባ ሊጠና፣ ምሁራን ሊወያዩበት፣ እንዲሁም ደግሞ ለዓለም ሊታወቅ እንዲደረግ ማድረግ ያስፈልጋል። ከዛም በክርስትና ዘመንም የሁለቱ ሀገር የህዝብ ለህዝብ ወዳጅነት ቀጥሏል። ኢትዮጵያውያን ክርስቲያኖች ለዘመናት ኢየሩሳሌም በቅዱሳን መካናት ውስጥ የራሳቸውን ቦታ ይዘው ኖረዋል። እስካሁንም ኢትዮጵያ በቅዱሳን መካናት ውስጥ የራሷ ቤተክርስቲያን ይዛ የኖረች ሀገር ኢትዮጵያ ብቻ ነው። ይህም ደግሞ የሁለቱን ሀገሮች የህዝብ ለህዝብ ግንኙነት ጠንካራ መሰረት ላይ ያለው መሆኑን የሚያሳይ ነው። ለዚህ የዚህ አይነት አውደ ጥናት የህዝብ ለህዝብ ግንኙነትን መሰረት ለማጠንከር ከፍተኛ ፋይዳ አላቸው። To recap all what I say in Amharic, the prayers recited by the priestess, the high priestess, was based on the Psalms of King David, which is recited by the Ethiopian Jews and by the Ethiopian Christians to this day, day by day. And it is enlightening to see how verbatim they recited here. They recited parts of the Psalms with an amazing vocal sound. And it shows a life testimony that to this date, living memory of 3,000 years. As we say 3,000 years, it begins with the visit of the Queen of Sheba to King Solomon, which is described in the Old Testament, the detailed accounts. This visit resulted in a strong relationship between the two, where they bore a child, and according to the Ethiopian tradition, that this son of King Solomon was Ethiopia's King Menelik I, who bore the legacy of Ethiopian kingdom for many years. In second Ethiopia, we can see that Judaism has been practiced, second to Israel, Judaism has been practiced in Ethiopia for 3,000 years. The living testimony is the Ethiopian Jews that we have now in Israel. Also in Christian traditions, Israel and Jerusalem continue to have a vibe in the Ethiopian story. And Ethiopian church, among other churches, kept the church buildings in the old city and outside the old city, where we still have the Ethiopian quarters. Members of the Ethiopian kingdom have built many also structures in the new city where we have now the Ethiopian quarters, about 22 buildings owned by the Ethiopian church and by the Ethiopian government.
So the conference of this kind have multitude impact in the people-to-people relationship. The embassy participated in this conference, in collaboration with the ONU Academy, as a part of our diplomacy, as a part of our public diplomacy work, which is aimed at enhancing people-to-people relationship between the two countries. This people-to-people relationship is grounded on multiple factors and mostly on the human relations because of the Ethiopian Jews who continue to live in both countries. And if most of them are living here, their bond with Ethiopia is still alive because they continue to embrace the Ethiopian values living in Israel. And conference and studies of academic nature, like the ones that we organize today, are main elements to continue this relationship and also to take it to the next level, to bring the next generation understand and carry on the cultures, because the new generation should not forget their roots. The Ethiopian Jews were kings in Ethiopia. They were artisans. They were political leaders. They were advisors. They were professors. They have played significant role in the Ethiopian history. They have been in the Ethiopian military. They have been in the Ethiopian government. They have been the basis of Ethiopian economy in multitude aspects. And that should be nurtured and that should be carried on. So our role in diplomacy is to ensure that we continue to bring this forward in all aspects, but today the focus is in the academic culture, and I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to the leadership of the ONU Academy, Professor Tova and Dr. Sharon Shalom. Thank you very much. Thank you for all of you.
I would like to invite Professor Tova Hartman, Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Science. Please, Professor.
Hi. To your esteemed ambassador, guests, colleagues, and students, I am so pleased and honored to welcome you to our college and to our new campus in Jerusalem, a city of gold, or rather, a city that could be gold. But sadly, this is still a city with so many warring factions, often engaged in a zero-sum game. But to use a biblical image, does God have only one blessing? Many religions believe so, and sadly, this religious perspective did not stay only in the narrow realm of religion, in the synagogues, churches, and mosques, but has seeped into every aspect of life. We at ONU, however, resist and do not accept the answer that if one group is blessed, the other must be cursed. Instead, our college is rooted in the deep belief that God has many blessings for many different people. We are committed to fashioning a present and a future that reflect this. But we do not do this by creating a melting pot, a metaphor that was very common when I was growing up. That image that was meant to be positive, but in reality, it is very harmful. And who really wants to melt? Bringing diverse people together is not only our social mission, it is our academic research raison d'etre. The academy often produced paradigms where so many fields of research were colonized and put in straitjackets. You either accept one way of doing research and will then be invited to the table, or you are not given a seat. This conference that is looking at different aspects of the relationships between two countries, cultures, and religions is giving tribute to research that reflects the relationships, mutual influences, the hybrid identities that emerge from the very best types of multicultural studies. As we each live in hyphenated lives, we are not bifurcated or trifurcated, but live in wonderful blended arenas. We dance to music that is harmony, but also polyphonic creaking notes. Sometimes two distinct, large identities fit together well, but very often they don't. Sometimes they talk to each other in a friendly fashion. Sometimes they conflict, and sometimes they even yell at each other. But that is not necessarily bad. Our lives are not smooth and consistent. Jagged edges can be good, often painful, but they are creative. It is almost 40 years since Operation Moses, and there certainly were Ethiopian Jews in Israel before that. But the mid-'80s saw a large influx of Ethiopian Jews, and the beginning, in a significant way, of creating Ethiopian-Israeli identity. For me, as the dean, it is wonderful that ONO has set up a center that is devoted to studying Ethiopian Jewry under the leadership of Sharon Shalom. It is not an academic museum studying only the rich heritage and culture that once was. So many Ethiopians have come to Israel. They have enriched Israeli society by creating this new hybrid. Ethiopian-Israeli Jewry is not an enclosed cultural group, and in ONO we do not study it using a multicultural lens, but rather through an intercultural lens. And we do that because intercultural communication focuses on the mutual exchange of ideas and cultural norms and the development of deep relationships in an intercultural society where no one is left unchanged because everyone can learn from one another and grow together. I'm really looking forward to this conference and looking forward to having the chance to learn from many of you. And I'm very grateful that ONO is taking such an active interest in this area as we look forward to the future, to really possibly making the city one of gold. Thank you.
የሁለቱን አገሮች የ3000 ዓመት ግንኙነት መሰረት ለመጣል ተጋብዘን ወደዚህ መተን በተለያዩ ፕሮፌሰሮች ያጠኑትን ጥናት ለማቅረብ ስለመጣን በእኔና በቲሙ ስም ምስጋና ልናቀርብ እንወዳለን። ይሄ ግንኙነት ወደፊት ቅድም ክቡር አምባሳደሩ እንዳሉት የህዝብ ለህዝብ ትስስርን የሚፈጥርና መሰረት የሚጥል በተለይ ቤተ እስራኤላውያን በኢትዮጵያ በነበሩበት ወቅት አሁንም ባሉበት በኢትዮጵያ በኢኮኖሚው፣ በማህበራዊ፣ በፖለቲካው በተለያዩ መስኮች ለኢትዮጵያ ሀገራችን ትልቅ አበርክቶ ያበረከቱና ይህን አበርክቶ ደግሞ ለልጆቻቸው እንዲማሩና ወደፊት ታሪካቸውን እንዲያጠኑ ለማድረግ እንደዚህ አይነት ወርክሾፕ ማዘጋጀት ከፍተኛ አስተዋጽኦ ስለሚኖረው ይህ ወደፊት ቀጣይነት ይኖረዋል። ዩኒቨርሲቲያችንም እንደ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ወደፊት በስፋት አንዱ አጀንዳ የምርምር አጀንዳ አድርጎ በመውሰድ ብዙ ስራዎችን የምንሰራበትን አጋጣሚ እንፈጥራለን ብዬ አስባለሁ። ስለዚህ ወደፊት እዚህ ያሉ በተለይ የሁለተኛውና የሶስተኛው ጄኔሬሽን ወይም ትውልድ ወደ ኋላ ሄደው ቀደም እናቶቻቸውና አባቶቻቸው የሰሯቸውን ስራዎች በማወቅ በመመራመር በመዘከር ዶክመንት በማዘጋጀት ለህዝባቸውና ለዓለም በማሳወቅ ትልቅ ስራ እንሰራለን ብለን እናስባለን። ለዚህም በእናንተ ፊት ቃል እንገባለን። ስለዚህ ወደፊት በቀጣይ በጋራ ስራዎችን በመስራት ከዚህ የበለጠ ቅድም ክቡር አምባሳደሩ እንዳሉት የህዝብ ለህዝብ ግንኙነትን በሰፊው ለማስኬድ ከፍተኛ ስራ የምንሰራ ለመሆኑ በዚሁ አጋጣሚ ላመሰግን እወዳለሁ። መጨረሻ በተደረገልን ዝግጅት ይህን የመሰለ አቀባበል ስለተደረገልን በራሴና በቲሙ ስም ከፍተኛ የሆነ ምስጋና ላቀርብ እወዳለሁ።
Dear Honorable Ambassador Reta Alemu Nega, the Dean of Faculty of Humanities and Social Science of ONU Academic College, Professor Tova Hartman, dear Dr. Kasun Segenge Gesengo, I hope I said it okay. Dear friends and colleagues, it is a great honor and a fulfillment of a dream to see this collaboration between Israeli and Ethiopian researchers comes to reality. 4 years ago, before the COVID epidemic disrupted the course of life, me and Dr. Rachel Yadid, the chairman of Lebet Tamar, the Association of Yemenite Jews, had a meeting with dear Rabbi Dr. Sharon Shalom in Rehovot. In this meeting, we expressed our strong will to bring the history of the Jews in Ethiopia to its right place as an important part of the wide and varied Jewish history. We at the Shazar Center for Jewish History believe that the past and the present of the Jewish nation is a delicate, marvelous mosaic, and that the only way to understand in depth is by bringing as many information as possible regarding all the parts of the Jewish people wherever they lived and through all the periods of history. The history of the Jews in Ethiopia is a unique part of the mosaic, and it combines the life of Jews in African environment on the one hand and in Christian environment on the other. It has its strong, unique tradition and yet had strong connection to the communities such as to the other Jewish communities such as the Yemenite, the Egyptian and other communities in Africa and even in Europe. We believe that this evening today and the collaboration with the University of Gondar is another step to deepening and strengthening the research and learning of the history of the tradition of the Jews of Ethiopia and their connections to Ethiopia and other parts of Africa. And we are looking for extending these relationships. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of Major Aaron Ze'ev Farkash, the chairman of the Shazar Center, who unfortunately could not come to this lovely evening, and to our partners at the Ono Academic College, on the Embassy of Ethiopia, and on the Lebet Tamar Association for this important and fruitful cooperation. I would also like to thank Gilad Rubinstein, Head of Education and Academic Division at the Shazar Center, and Yara Alon, our coordinator, for promoting the project so well. Thank you and Shana Tova.